Good evening from very humid Abidjan. It's currently 11:15 in the evening. We just got home from another day of outstanding African football with many unexpected results. This is the Afcon Diaries Day 2. My voice cracked. I'm actually not going to comment on the Nigeria Equatorial Guinea match because I was running around early in the morning and early in the afternoon. I didn't get a chance to watch it. When I get a chance to watch it back, hopefully that'll inform my analysis later on in the tournament. But I was at the Stade Félix Houphouët-Boigny to watch Egypt take on Mozambique and to watch Ghana take on Cape Verde. I watched both of those matches. Here are my thoughts. Egypt, before the tournament, I mean, they were one of my four favorites alongside Morocco, Senegal, and Egypt, and Cote d'Ivoire, of course. Why did we say that they were one of the favorites? Well, they showed that they had the know-how to get there. They've made it to two out of the last three Afcon finals. Mohamed Salah, this is a defining part of his legacy. He has never won an Afcon, and you have to imagine that, it's eating away at him and that he was going to do everything he could to win an Afcon. The form of their attacking front line, of the likes of Trezeguet, Marmoush, Mustafa, and Salah, of course, at a very high top level. And so you would think that that would carry over and on into the tournament. And so that's why they were considered, favorites, in my opinion. They show up today, and if you watch the Egypt preview on this channel, and if you spoke to Egyptians, as I did, I spoke to many Egyptian colleagues of mine, they were expecting this Egyptian side to not be as, let's say, defensive, under quotes, if you want to say that's how they played in 2017 and 2021. No, on the contrary, with the new coach, Rui Vitoria, they were expected to be a more balanced side, meaning that they were going to have a little more courage, a little more willingness to attack, to leave their zone, to try and break down opposing defenses. This was on full display in the opening match. Rui Vitoria, instead of going for the 4-3-3, with that midfield three of more ball-playing midfielders, not Hamdi Fathi, not Tariq Hamid, no, Imam Ashur and Marwan Atiyah, players that can carry the ball forward, can distribute, can create, can score. Rui Vitoria opts for a 4-2-3-1. So he does play Hamdi Fathi in a double pivot with Mohamed El Nani, and their roles were almost strictly defensive. We move Mohamed Salah from the right wing into the middle behind the striker Mohamed Mustafa. Trezeguet in his habitual left wing spot, but we throw on Zizou on the right wing. Zizou plays his local football in Egypt. He's somebody that's been, I think, pretty reliable player for Egypt and for Zamalek, his club, for quite a long time. I didn't think he had a poor match, but it was interesting to see moving from a 4-3-3 where Salah was going to be maybe a little more free, or I shouldn't say free, but a little closer to the attacker, to the striker, into this 4-2-3-1 where he was sort of drifting around everywhere, so he actually was free. And initially, I didn't think it was a horrible idea. I could see what Rui Vitoria was trying to do. I mean, Mohamed Salah this season in the Premier League, if you listen to what, for example, Mohamed Qutb was saying on the Egypt preview on his channel, saying he was, yes, scoring goals, but he's also becoming more of a provider, and that if Darwin Núñez scored, half the amount of goals half the amount of chances that Mohamed Salah created for him, he'd probably be the Premier League top scorer at the moment. And so I could understand giving him that freedom to say, you know what, you don't have to do any defensive duties. When we're out of possession, you can be right next to the striker and just, try to force the opposing possession one way or the other. You don't have to press too hard. You don't have to worry about closing down midfielders. But when we have possession, drift between the lines, be a menace, basically. Be very difficult to mark out of the game for the opposing team. Considering, by the way, that Mozambique's Atletico Madrid defender, Reinaldo, Pluto, is left back. And so he's the one that would have been marking Salah if he started on the right wing. Maybe that influenced Rui Vitoria. During the press conference, I asked Rui Vitoria why he decided to opt for this tactical system of a 4-2-3-1 instead of a 4-3-3. He didn't really give me an answer. He said, yeah, we have two systems, they provide solutions, and that's pretty much it. Anyways, Egypt score early, Mohamed Mustafa, and it's one of those goals that it's almost impressive how quickly he turned and hit the ball on target. It's not almost impressive. It's very impressive actually. It's almost unbelievable. Blink of an eye and you miss it. And he showed that, that instinct of knowing where the goal is. He showed that ferociousness, that aggressiveness that Mohamed Mustafa has, and that's really useful on the African continent. So they go up, and then even I think in the first 20, 30 minutes, they're taking the game to Mozambique. And you're thinking, this is the Egypt that we were expecting. They just need a second goal. And that second goal never comes. And towards the end of the first half, Mozambique starts to threaten, especially on the wings. Mohamed Hani as a right back for Egypt. Mahmoud Hamdi on the left back, Pyramids FC left back. They were really struggling, I think, handling the Mozambican wingers. They were the ones that were providing, a lot of danger on the wings. So we go to halftime. Chiquinho Conde, the Mozambican coach, doesn't wait to try to change the match. He makes some substitutions at half. He says that they employed new tactics early on in the second half. And within a 5-minute window, the Mambas are up 2-1. The first goal comes from the wings, as was expected. Comes from a cross that Witi, the striker, latches onto and scores. And the second one was all made by the man of the match, Guima. They play this lovely 1-2, breaks into space, gets behind the Egyptian center halves, which remember, Mohamed Abdul Mun'im can run. He's fast enough to cover behind. But Ahmed Higazi, no. But they get behind the Egyptian defense, slide in a goal, and they're up 2-1. In the post-match press conference, the coach, Rui Vitoria, said, yeah, we slept for 5 minutes, and that's football. In the blink of an eye, things can change. It was just a 5-minute lapse of concentration. But I think that's a cop-out. It wasn't just 5 minutes. Mozambique were creating chances at the end of the first half, and they were creating chances at the beginning of the second half as well. I think there are real questions about Egypt's ability to defend from the flanks and in transition upon losing possession and having to get back. At least that's what Mozambique exposed. Now they can make the adjustments. Perhaps they're going to change the way they play. Perhaps they're going to change the formations, maybe even personnel, and that could perhaps be a solution. I'm not saying this is going to be a problem throughout the tournament, but these were warning shots. And mostly everybody in the stadium thought that Mozambique was going to pull off a crazy upset and win 2-1. But at the very last minute, penalty. I didn't see if it was a penalty or not. I asked journalists that did see it, and they told me that it was soft, but it was a penalty. And Mohamed Salah, with that trademark run up that he does for the penalties, where he starts like this and he goes around and he hits it, and off the post, and it hits the post. And I'm thinking, oh no, this is gonna define Egypt's Afcon score. And it clings off the post and goes in. So a huge sigh of relief. Mohamed Salah steps up again in a big moment. Even though I think overall we expected maybe a little bit more from him. But I mean, he does have the tendency sometimes to disappear in matches for Liverpool. But you have to keep him on the pitch because he can create that moment of magic at any time and anywhere. And he's such a mental load for the defending team. That you have to keep him on the pitch. So that was a fantastic game. 2-2. I think hats off to Chiquinho Conde and Mozambique, who showed that they're not scared to play against these bigger sides. They pushed Algeria far in World Cup qualifying just before coming out to the Afcon. They pushed Egypt to the limit in this first match of Afcon qualifying, and I think they're going to be a nuisance. They're still chasing their very first win at the Africa Cup of Nations. That would have been a great one to have it against Egypt, but unfortunately it wasn't to be this time around. Everybody said it was, from their side, in the press conference, they said it was bittersweet after the match. But I think overall they were proud of their performance, and it's given them a lot of confidence to take on Ghana and Cape Verde in the future. Let's move on to the second match. The second match starts, and the criticism against Ghana, since Chris Hughton's been in charge, is, and maybe even a little prior to that, do they have enough to break down the opposition when in possession? Can they score enough goals? Remember, in FIFA World Cup qualifying, at the very last second, they score off a set piece against Madagascar to win. They go to Comoros and they lose. And here, they score off a set piece, Alexander Djiku. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. The match starts, and unlike the Egypt-Mozambique match where Egypt were on the front foot at the very beginning, I think Cape Verde were on the front foot from the very beginning this time around. they were so impressive in how they passed the ball, how much courage they had, and they forced Ghana to concede possession. In that war of possession, they were the ones that had the lion's share. Um, Players like Jamiro Montero were so good in pulling the strings and orchestrating things from midfield. Bebe, uh, Bebe, name I haven't heard in a while. I don't follow too much La Liga, but he was really, really good too, and he was doing a good job of combining with Cabral, number 7. Sometimes Bebe would find himself on the left wing. Sometimes he would be the target man, and they would switch up. And I think when Cape Verde opened the scoring in the 23rd minute, was it the 23rd? It might not be the 23rd minute. I'm very, very tired. But when they opened the scoring, everybody, I think, thought it was deserved. Absolutely. The Blue Sharks from the island. And they continued to monopolize possession. Slowly, Ghana climbed into this game, and they score a goal that Majid Ashimeru, hits the ball, 23, 24 yards out, but it's ruled out for offside after VAR check. And if you remember, Gary Al Smith in the preview on this channel for Ghana was telling us that Majid Ashimeru might be one of those players that might start off in a double pivot, but that can really carry the ball forward, make long passes, and shoot on goal. So Gary was absolutely right about that. We go into half 1-0 down. And the Ghanaians are not happy when we go to the media cafeteria room for lunch, or for dinner, I should say. Which, by the way, dinner was not bad this time around, unlike yesterday. We come up for the second half, and Ghana starts to make changes. They start to climb back into this game. And they score off a corner kick. So, again, Madagascar, they scored off, I believe it was a corner kick as well, not just a set piece, a corner kick. This time they score off a corner kick again, and it's Alexander Djiku who scores a header. So they're not breaking down the opponent. And unfortunately for them, Mohamed Kudus was injured, and he wasn't, a starter for this match. But still, you can't base all of your hopes on one player. It's never a recipe for success, right? Even though I do think Kudus is probably capable of taking them far in the tournament if he performs like he did at the World Cup. But he wasn't like that, and yeah, they score, but they score off a set piece. Alexander Djiku, who, by the way, was man of the match and had a fantastic game in the heart of defense. If Ghana do have a strength, it's probably that center half pairing of Alexander Djiku and Mohamed Salisu. Even though the mistake comes from the defense. Not really them, more Dennis Adoy, but you do wonder if the center halves or the goalkeeper, Richard Ofori, could have done better, as Cape Verde score in the final minutes of the game, and it just goes bananas. And that goal, when you're playing at the Africa Cup of Nations in the final 10 minutes of the match, your first match in the group stage, you talk about who's going to step up, who's happy with a draw, and who's going to step up. Ghana thought Andre Ayew was going to step up. When he was about to be subbed on, first of all, even in the first half, they were singing, Ayew, Ayew, Ayew. He gets subbed on, rousing reception, and the Ghanaian journalists from here are laughing like, can you believe this? I can't believe they're cheering for Ayew, no. Like, we're back to this. Ayew played his first Afcon in 2008. We're in 2024. Ayew. He was okay. I think, he does a great job of competing in the air. He does a great job of galvanizing his teammates, but he's not the savior that Ghana need nor deserve. On the contrary, look at the fight that, players like Gary Rodriguez put in at the very end to try and nick the ball and I saw a little more willingness, a little more ambition, a little more want to from the Cape Verdean players in the very end of the match, especially even the Tavares, the striker that was subbed on, the way he was closing down defenders in the last 5 minutes of the match. I think it really spoke to the spirit of this Cape Verdean team, and I think they deserve a lot of credit for that. And I think they were worthy winners, 2-1 against the Ghana Black Stars. And so today was a day where the giants of African football all drop points. Nigeria draw to Equatorial Guinea, Egypt draw with Mozambique, and Ghana lose to Cape Verde. How about that? How about that for the African Cup of Nations? So when we tell you there's no logic to the African Cup of Nations, sometimes you guys don't believe us, but there really is no logic to the African Cup of Nations. It's about performing on the day, on the pitch, no excuses. And I heard excuses from Rui Vitória. I don't think I heard any excuses from Ghanaians or journalists or coaches or supporters. I think they're just in a state of perpetual frustration Um, Indifference is a word that I heard today. I spoke to a colleague of mine, Sadiq Adams, on who's a good follow on Twitter if you want to follow a good Ghanaian journalist. And he told me, I said, "How you feeling about today?" He said, "Indifferent." I said, "Really? Come on, man. Like, we all act like this, journalists, and then when it's match day, there's something. We're all supporters on the inside. When it's match day and you see, the flag and you hear the national anthem, there's something there. You're not indifferent. You're only ever indifferent when you have no faith in your side." He told me at the previous at the previous Afcon when he saw Ghana lose to Comoros and then when they were eliminated in the group stages, he wouldn't ever come to an Afcon again. And he's here. He's here in Cote d'Ivoire. And I was just thinking, man, what's he thinking right now? What's Sadiq thinking right now? You know what? Let me call him real quick. Do I have him on WhatsApp? Let me call. Let me see if I can bother him. This is a live call on a podcast. Let me see if I can call him and see what his reaction is. Sadiq,
Hello?
it's Meher Mizahi, man, from
Yeah,
Algeria.
Maya,
How you
yes.
doing, brother? I'm just recording my podcast right now. I was talking about the indifference of Ghanaian journalists. I just have one question for you,
Yes.
bro. How are you feeling right now?
I feel very normal. These are things I expected, but the bond between the person and their nation, it's something that cannot be broken. So
Yes.
the heartbreak is there, the pain is there, but obviously it's nothing new. We've become very accustomed to this.
That's why you told me you felt indifferent, yeah, today, this morning?
Exactly. Exactly. It's something that you expect to happen, and it will be just affirmed. You're only waiting for the affirmation. Just the hope that kills. Sometimes you have some slimmer of hope that something may happen, some luck may strike. But of course, these are things that majority of journalists expected, and it just happened.
Thank you, Sadiq. Sorry for bothering you, bro. Sorry for the cold call. We'll speak to you
No
soon, bro.
problem. Welcome.
Peace.
Welcome.
So there you have it. There's a live reaction for you. There's another Ghanaian journalist that was sitting behind me. Right, the last 2 minutes. We're all watching intently. I promise you. And I don't know his name, and I wouldn't name him anyways. But he said, "What did we do to get stuck with these bums?" And we all just turned around and started dying laughing. I was like, come on, man. I was like, you guys have Muhammad Kudus if he was playing. He's like, even if he was playing, they wouldn't do anything. What did we do to get stuck with these bums? And that's like, I feel like even when I spoke to supporters outside of the stadium, there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of, indifference, I think is a good word. Apathy, disappointment, just, I don't see how they can climb out of it. What's the solution? Firing Chris Hughton and hiring somebody else? Probably, but even then, what's the guarantee that you're going to get it right? So I just wanted to give you that window on what the mentality is for a lot of people that follow Ghanaian football at the moment. We're pushing this a bit long now. We're on almost on 20 minutes. So I'm going to finish with this. Thank you for listening to, day 2 of the of the Afcon diaries, where I love Ghana, but we're laughing at Ghana's pain a little bit. That's about it. Keep it locked. We're going to do this every day. Just going to recap my thoughts. And special bonus in this video, I just, shot a few sequences of what it's like to be, a journalist at the Afcon. And so if that interests you, you can watch that and you're just going to see, it's not really a vlog. It's just like a few snapshots so you can kind of see what it's like to be a journalist at the African Cup of Nations. And I think it's like one of the greatest events to be at. And maybe this will give you a small preview of that. So thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow night or after tomorrow morning. Peace. Day 2 at the Africa Cup of Nations. Today, Nigeria are playing Equatorial Guinea in the early match in Ibimpe at the Alassane Ouattara Stadium. But I'm not going to be going to that match. I'm going to be going to the Palais de la Culture, where you have this sort of main media center, and this is where we picked up, our accreditations. And then I'm gonna head over to the Stade Félix Houphouët-Boigny, Felicia, as the Ivorians like to call it, that stadium. And from there, we're gonna watch Egypt versus Mozambique and Ghana versus Cape Verde. So today, I'm gonna try to just film a bit of everyday scenes of sort of what it's like to cover an Afcon as an African journalist. This is my Airbnb, and now I'm leaving to go to the media center. Et ton man of the match, ton joueur du match, c'était qui?
Match. Pediseko Fofana.
Fofana, ouais. Après le but et après. Mais votre milieu de terrain, Fofana, Kessié, Sangaré, c'est du lourd. C'est très fort.
Ah, je préfère Sangaré.
Sangaré, ah oui? Ouais. Il est calme. C'est lui qui récupère le ballon, il donne des longues passes.
Exactement.
Ouais. Et à ton avis, qu'est-ce qu'il manque à cette équipe?
Ce qui manque, selon moi, la défense doit encore améliorer beaucoup de choses.
La défense, ouais. On a vu que Sengo, il a fait des erreurs après.
Parce que-
Pour toi, Sengo ou Aurier doit être titulaire?
Oui, bien sûr.
C'est qui? Aurier?
Oui.
Et
J'aurais dit l'autre. Il y a un autre consul là, comment il dit?
Willy
Voilà,
Boli.
Boli.
Pour toi, il doit être titulaire au lieu de Diomandé.
Voilà, exactement.
Ok.
Parce que si contre le Nigeria, par contre, il faut des gens physiques.
Ouais, c'est vrai.
Des gens physiques.
Et eux, ils ont leur attaquant Osimhen. C'est le meilleur joueur de l'Afrique.
Exactement. Donc, il faut des gens physiques
Alors,
face à Nigeria.
Ok.
Mais l'attaquant, il est blessé ou quoi? À l'heure.
À l'heure, il est blessé, ils ont dit, pendant au moins 2 matchs. Et c'est pour ça qu'il n'était pas titulaire hier. Mais il y avait l'autre, Crasso, il a marqué un bon but quand même.
Ouais.
Voilà le stade. Félix Houphouët-Boigny Stadium, where there's going to be 2 matches later today. And this is the very famous Cocody Bridge, an architectural landmark in Abidjan. I love this stadium. When you're sitting, in the stands up here, sometimes you can have a view of the lagoon, and you can have a view of these buildings behind. And this is one of the 2 stadiums where the 1984 African Cup of Nations, also hosted in Cote d'Ivoire, was held. The other being in Bouaké. Before we got to the Palais de la Culture, which is over there, just gonna grab something to eat because I haven't had breakfast or anything. I'm starving. I'm ashamed of myself, but I just realized I was so hungry. I didn't have dinner last night. Last time I ate was 24 hours ago. At the stadium, they gave us like half a hard-boiled egg, some shredded carrots, and like maybe 6 cucumber sticks. I haven't had breakfast, so I didn't even film what I'm eating. I got myself a chicken wrap, some fries, and a Coke. Hold on, let me show you. I don't know what this is, but this is like a smoked hot sauce, and it is the best thing I ever tasted in my life. Seriously can't get over how good that hot sauce was. I ate way too much of it, and I'm gonna regret it later, but the lady told me it's just barbecued peppers. So we do it in Algeria, it's like ahmis. But I don't know, it tastes way different. It's way more smoky. It was really good. Now I just took a BSAP, chilling, waiting for a colleague of mine to join me. If not, I'm gonna go to Palais de la Culture. So I didn't record meeting with my friends at the lunch place, but that was really fruitful. Now I'm in the media center. This is what the media center looks like. Hold on, let me flip this. See, we got TVs going everywhere. So this is the Nigeria versus Equatorial Guinea match. Victor Osimhen just scored 5 minutes ago, just a few seconds after Equatorial Guinea scored. And over here we have, computers if people want to work. You got your plugs if you want to plug in. We have some refreshments on the other side over there. And nobody's here. Usually this is packed, but nobody's here because everybody's already at the other stadium, Félix Houphouët-Boigny. So we're all sort of waiting to get onto the bus to go to that next stadium. Actually, I'm gonna step out of the press room now and get on that bus because the bus leaves at 3 and it's 2:45. Yeah, there's no bus in sight, so probably not leaving at 3. And I hear that it's halftime for Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea. At the stadium now, as you see, the police have cordoned off the road. But this is what I love about coming to, traveling around the continent. I've never seen birds in a tree like this. Each one of those little bundles is either a nest or a bundle of birds. I think it's a bundle of birds. Or bats? Yo, I think, those are bats. Oh! Those are huge bats. Wow. Got through the police cordon and we're at the Stade Félix Houphouët-Boigny. Désolé. This is the media entrance. And it looks like there's some kind of security or metal detector we have to go through. When I tell you that, people are really excited for this tournament. Everybody's draping their flags over their balconies. Got some Algerian brothers and sisters here. 1 hour before kickoff. Time to take our seats in the media stand. This is Eric and Jiro from Kenya. Jiro Biwami from Benin. Say something in English. No. Goodbye. Wow. 2-3 goals in. This is why I had Egypt as one of my favorites. They look sharp. They look good. This is why you don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. The Afcon, there's no logic. Mozambique equalize and then a few minutes later take the lead against Egypt. What? Just a few minutes left to play and the neutrals are all taken to Mozambique. It's crazy noise. We got to hang on for a few more minutes and they're going to upset Egypt, who are one of the favorites of this tournament. VAR for a penalty shout. Looked a little soft, but I didn't see a replay. If he wrestles for a penalty kick, there's going to be a lot of anger in the stadium. He called the penalty. Why did he take the football? He's worried they did something to the football, I think. It's going to be Salah. High drama. Mohamed Salah to salvage a point for Egypt at their opening match of the African Cup of Nations and to keep Mozambique from their first ever win at an African Cup of Nations. Salah will usually back up, run like all the way, he'll do the same, run like this, and then come and shoot it.
Toi, tu gères cette partie. Toi, tu gères cette partie. Ça marche maintenant comme quoi. Welcome to the post-match press conference, match number 3.
Any filter is filter? incredible.